Hi everyone, it's Patrick Simmons here, and we're going to do our Wix tutorial 4A, creating your gallery. I did break the tutorial up into two parts, an A and a B. So the 4A will be all about building your gallery, and 4B will be just some tips on your skill spotlight. Okay, so we'll start with just building your gallery. Of course, those of you who are jumping into the Wix tutorial 4, it is built off of Wix tutorials 1, 2, and 3. And the template that I've used for this site is the business CV template. That's the name of the template. If you type it into the search for templates, it'll pop up when you're creating a site. It's very basic. It doesn't have a lot of extra clunky pieces all over the place, especially on the home page. If you want to use different templates, absolutely go ahead. You may find that there's a lot of extra things thrown into the different pages that you don't need. So do, feel free to remove those to keep your site clean. Remove like the chat features and the search box features and all those things that you don't need right away. But if you do want to kind of follow the template that I'm using, it's the business CV template. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the gallery spotlight. Again, we've got our header section, our middle page section, and our footer section. So you want to always make sure you're not adding stuff you want on your page into the header or the footer section because they'll show up on every single page. So just make sure that you're adding it into the middle section. I'm going to go up to my page selector in the top left, and I'm going to select the gallery spotlight. Now this template already kind of gets you started. And I want you to think of your gallery as when you're walking into like a museum and there's sculptures and there's art on the wall. There's things kind of all over. And this is your museum or your gallery where you can showcase work you've completed, some of the things that you've done and you've achieved, maybe a certificate or a diploma or a degree. Like this is kind of where you put all of the different artifacts and things that you've accomplished that you want to put on your wall. You don't have to put everything on your wall, but you can certainly, share some of the accomplishments you're proud of. You can also add things and remove things constantly. So while you're in the program, if there's projects you've worked really hard on that you want to showcase, add it to your gallery. There may have been projects you worked on in an education program before the college year, and maybe it was at a high school project that you spent a lot of time on, or it could be a volunteer event that you've participated in. So, there's really no topic that is not suitable. The only thing is think about your gallery. Potential employers, your peers, your kind of professional network. In theory, this is where you can invite them to come and see a little bit about who you are and see your work. It certainly stands out more than just your resume because they can actually see your work. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get to this page was the default kind of setting with this template. So one of the reasons I do like this template is it already has this, your gallery almost set up for you. So if you have this template, first thing I'm going to do is just quickly change my title. You can double click it to go on the inside there. And I'm going to make it match what's on the menu. So I'm going to go Gallery Spotlight. I'm going to just select it. These little round white circles are called your handles, and I'm just going to click and drag it so that it's all on one line. I don't mind this little square. I really don't, but let's say if I want to get rid of it, I'm going to select it, hit delete on my keyboard. And then I'm going to move this kind of more at the top, and I want it to be centered. Right now it's left aligned. So I'm going to edit, and I'm going to make it centered. Okay. Notice if I move it, it's going to give me kind of an alignment indicator. And that little red line or pink line, that shows me that it's kind of centered with these other objects here. So that can really help you kind of go, well, where's that center point? Well, there's that, I'll put it right there. This is just a little intro about your gallery. Okay. I mean, you could just, whoops, let's double click for a sec. Just say, welcome to my gallery of work and achievements. Hope you enjoy browsing. Okay, something very simple. I have seen students that leave this completely off, and that's okay. It's just really an intro into your page, right? Keep in mind, if you're inviting other people, professionals to your page, this kind of just make sure it's clear what exactly it is they're looking at. So different things you can add. First thing is like a project or an essay that you've worked on in school. So for example, if I go here, I'm going to type in essay gamification. I like underneath this little subtitle, but I'm going to use it for the date that I created this essay, for example. Okay. This can be a little intro or a summary about what this essay is about. I'm going to change my image. Now, you could upload an image of, let's say you have a title page, or I mean, you can upload your own image. I'm just going to search through the free kind of image databases here. And I'm just going to find an image. Whoops, let's go back. Accidentally clicked his name. Let's select that image and let's go choose. Okay, there's my essay. Now, this by itself doesn't really display a lot. It tells you kind of about this essay, but I actually want to attach the essay. So I'm going to select this image, click on my link, and I'm going to select document. Choose my file. I've already uploaded my file, so I'm going to select it. If you haven't, just go upload media and add your file. I like to make sure it's a PDF. And my file is now linked to this image. I also like to add it to my title, because a lot of people like to click on the title. So just so that I can make sure, I'm going to make it a document. Add my paper. That first one's done. If we preview it, I can click on it. It goes right to my paper. Okay. There's an essay on gamification. Let's go back to the editor. This second one, let's say you volunteered, or actually I'm going to use a degree first, or a diploma or certificate. Let's say you completed a degree in philosophy. You could put the institution, and the year maybe. You could put a little blurb about your thoughts about that degree. Okay, so this is again where just a very simple little summary. I have seen students will just leave that part off if they feel it's kind of self-explanatory. But what I do like is going to the university and finding the web page of whatever the program was that you got your degree. If it wasn't a university or if it was a college, but it might even be like a private training center where you got some a certificate in WMIS or design, or so it really could be wherever you got that training. But I like to copy that link of that site and first of all, let's change this image and let's see if we can find. Now, some people, what they'll do is they'll actually take a picture of their certificate or their diploma or their degree, and they'll use that picture as their image. Okay. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to find something that is, degree related, and I'll use that. You can also use a picture of yourself. Sometimes students they'll be in their gown and they'll be proudly holding their certificate or diploma. You can use that picture as well. So I'm going to add my picture, then I'm going to go to my link. This time I'm going to connect it to a web address, and I'm connecting it to the university's program page. And I'll also connect it up here again, because I like it in both places. Okay, so for this gallery item, if I take a look at it, and now goes directly to that university's page. So the value of that is somebody who, is new to you and new to your site can at least go and take a look at the university that you went to. I appreciate, if you graduated in 2007, today's page might include a lot of different things in 2007, but at the very least, you're connecting it to the institution. They can take a further look. So we've got an essay or a project. We've got a certificate or a diploma. You could add just artwork, things that you've created. Sometimes, actually, we'll do this last one, and then I'll show you with the artwork. So let's say this last one, you do some volunteer. Let's go back to our editor. And I'm going to say here, okay, I do like the subtitle. I'm going to go since (2016). This can be, again, your personal statement or blurb about the Calgary Youth Justice Society and the work that you've done there. Another tool you can use instead of this text box. What if I'm typing in this text box and the text that I have is pretty long? There's a couple different ways you can approach this. One, there's too much text here. So I'm going to copy all my text. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to add a different kind of text box. So instead of just a regular paragraph, I'm going to add one of these collapsible paragraphs. So I'm going to do this first one. And I'm going to move it down here. Now, it is a different text box, So it has slightly different menu items and tools than this other text box. First thing I want to do is actually change the text. So I select it and I'm going to put change to text. And I copy all of that extra text. So you can see there's a lot of text there. Okay, so I'm going to copy all of that text. The second thing I'm going to do is, if I look at these other two, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of text in both of those. So I kind of want 6 lines of text here. So I'm going to click on this layout. And I'm going to say I want to display 6 lines of this text box. And I'll close that. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit wider so it lines with these other ones, these other text box. Finally, I notice my font's different. So if I go up to this one and I go edit text, it's paragraph 1 and it's font size 17. This Avenir Light and 17. So to change the font on one of these collapsible text boxes, I'm going to go change design and I'm going to customize my design. So there's paragraph 1, Avenir Light, and make sure it's what the other ones were, and that was 17. So I'll change that to 17 and then I'll close. Okay, so now what happens with this text box is if you're previewing it, person can click read more, it'll open up, and then they can click read less. Okay, so this is a good text box to add if you've got a little bit more to read, but not if you've got a whole bunch of other information. And I'll show you what you can do for that. We'll go back to the editor. This image, I'm just quickly going to change it. If I could take an image from the Calgary Youth Justice Society and I could add that image, I'm just going to grab a picture just for the purpose of our tutorial here. Then I'm going to go to the Calgary Youth Justice's website. And you can add it, wherever you want, right? So you could add it behind this image. And there's a website. There's the Calgary Youth Justice Society. Okay. However, I'm going to show you one more way that you can build your gallery item. Let's say I've got a lot of stuff that I want to say about my volunteer work. And it's even more than what's going to fit in this drop-down text box. I want to add images. I want to add links. Maybe I want to add a video. So there's some really good stuff that I want to add. Okay, I'll just make this. Oops. Just going to drag this up a little bit more. Okay. So if you want to add a whole nother page of stuff, I'm going to click on my image and I'm going to go to my link and I'm going to link it to a page in my website. Now, if I already have a page created, I just select that page. If I don't have a page created, I could just go add a new page for this gallery item. You can either add a blank page or you can choose from a template. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to choose this template here and I'm going to add this page. It's going to go right into my site pages and menu kind of organizer. So I'm going to add this Calgary Youth Justice Society. Done. And then finally, I want to hide this page so it doesn't show up on my main menu. If you don't hide it, it'll show up in the menu. So I'm just going to hide it. Okay. close. Let's, whoops. Let's go to the top of my page for a sec. And change this to the Calgary Youth Justice Society. I'm going to personalize this by going my volunteer experience at the Calgary Youth Justice Society. Let's put proper grammar. You can add images, videos, anything you want here. This title, Calgary Youth Justice Society, that's where I'm going to put the link to the actual site. Make sure it's a web address. Done. Whoops. It didn't let me select my text first. Okay, so there's my text. I've selected it. Then I'm going to add it. It wasn't happy with me. And done. Okay, so there's this page. So if I go back to my gallery spotlight, and let's just preview. We've got our essay that opens up right into a project. So you can add a file, a presentation, a PDF, a video. This image, by the way, on the right, you could have as a video that just talks about an experience that you had. We open up to a website. This is a program that we opened up to, and it just talked about a degree. We also showed some volunteer experience at the Calgary Youth Justice Society. When we click on it, it goes to a page that's exclusive for that society, and then you can open up and go right into the society's webpage. Okay. The last thing I'm going to show you with the gallery is, there's lots of different ways that you can display items on the wall of your gallery. If I wanted to add a whole nother item, I could just highlight. I'm just clicking and dragging and drawing a box around my little item here. So just, whoops. Oh, I'm just going to deselect for a second. I come up here and then come back down here. So click and drag, Control C to copy, Control V pastes, and then just move it down. Got to make my section a little bit bigger. Make it all a little bit bigger. And then I'll just drag this whole thing down. So there's one more box that you can just add another item and just keep adding items. Okay, that's one way you can do that. Whoops. Just select my box and delete it. I'm going to move my strip up. Another way you can do it is I'm going to go to the very top and I'm going to add a section. And I'm just going to add a blank section. Okay, so now I've got this new section. If I wanted to, just to give it a little bit of depth or a different color, you could add a different color than what is in the lower section, right? I'm a big fan of keeping your colors not too bright. That's probably as bright as I would go, but you got a new section here. So now that I'm in the section, I'm going to add a gallery item. So if you go to gallery, take a look at all these different types of galleries that you can add. So I'm going to do this collage. And I'm going to make it fit my space a little bit better. Bring it down just a little bit. Move my gallery to the top. Remember, do not move your objects into your header. It'll show up on every page. Make sure it's in the section. I'm going to move my section down just a little bit. And then I'm just going to add a little subtitle and say, let's go to title. Let's try that one. My artwork. My digital artwork. Now you can put anything here. You could say my essays, my degrees, my certificates, my volunteer work. And then this could just be like a gallery of, well, in this case, my digital artwork. And then underneath it, you could create a separate section for, you know, something else that you want to showcase. It's kind of like in a museum, how they have different wings of the museum. So you can go into different wings, right? So let's say this is my digital artwork. To edit these boxes, select it, go to Manage Media. Here's all the boxes. Obviously, we don't need all of these boxes to start because we're going to add stuff as we create things, right? So in the program that you're in now, as you have projects that you want to add, you can add them and you just move them around, change the order just by clicking and dragging and moving them around. But for now, we're just going to remove some of these. This one, just to show you, very similar. We're just going to replace the image. We're going to put it a paper. Just to show you what we did before. We want it to be like an essay that we're writing. This one here looks busy. We can give the image a title. We can describe the image. Okay, so it just talks a little bit about, this is different text boxes that are used in searches. For the link, I'm actually going to link it to my paper, this particular one. Okay, so I've linked it to the paper. You could give a description. Blah, blah, blah. Done. Okay, so as you fill your gallery, you're going to see your items kind of fill that space. Right now, I just have this essay. I could add a number of different essays. You can also add galleries. If we go back to the gallery, that has the description underneath the item, which is good as well, because then at least it introduces a little bit about what that item is. Okay. So there's just a couple different ways that you can showcase your work. I mean, there's many more. There's lots of different tools that you can draw from, but I was just going to give you a couple different ways. And keep it simple for the purpose of this project. You can always add more afterwards. I hope you add more afterwards. And yeah, have some fun. This is your museum, right, of all the different things you want to share with people. So do feel free to, as you move through the program, to just keep adding some of the assignments and projects that you're working on. Great. Happy creating.